This is the Great Ork Kitbash 2025. I've put this out to my community and some lovely entries have come back in. Now there is only one prize for first place in this competition, and that is the Start Collecting box for the Ork faction of your choice from Warhammer 40k or Age of Sigmar. However, if I win the competition, there is no prize because I'm not going to buy myself the box out of channel money. No prize if I win. Welcome back to Lizard of Doom. I am Max, and this one is something special I do every now and then, the Kitbash competitions. First of all, let's get the YouTube stuff out of the way. Do a subscribe. Thank you very much. These channels are a lot of effort, and I do appreciate people in the community helping me, like Aria, helping collect all of the entrants for these competitions, and I appreciate everyone who joins in with these. Also, do a little like for the like god and a comment for the algorithm throne. Thank you very much. The interaction is much appreciated on these videos in the algorithm. So, these competitions have been going on for years now, and this one is one where I've returned to funding the prizes myself out of Patreon money. Thank you to all my Patreons. Your names will be later in the video. If I get more support on Patreon, then I can do this more often. I essentially need to double the support to be able to do this consistently. I'd be saving a small portion of my Patreon money up for the prize for this video. All of the Patreon members are judges in this competition, so they are the ones that get to vote, not me. I don't decide whether I'm better than everyone else. The Patreons decide who is the best. Now, I have won some of these in the past, but quite often it's you guys. I need to get into my entry now, so let's have a look at where my starting point is. Quite often I like to turn something that's not Warhammer into Warhammer, so that's where we're going to start. Hot Wheels are going to be the basis of this kit bash. I've chosen these two because they have a similar body to them. They're kind of hot roddy and would suit an Ork style well, whereas I've chosen a third to be the leader of this Counts as Biker squad. This is a little bit bulkier and it's going to look a little bit different to the others when it's complete. Now, unpackaged, you can see that they need some work doing to them. I need to clear space to put some orcs in them. This is going to be a little bit of a hassle, but not so much for the little grey one. The little grey one, I started by removing some mould lines on the edge of these pipes here where they'd been cast, but other than that, this model was pretty good. Not much that would show up any excess paint or dry brushing or anything like that afterwards. Once that had been done, all I needed to do was clip away the steering wheel that protruded into the car and any other extra bits and bobs that got in the way of putting an orc in there. This one needed a bit more work though. I'd have to take the top off somehow. I wondered if sawing was going to be the best method, or could I clip through it with some really rough clippers that are already bent? In the end, sawing was the way to deal with it. Now we have two prepared for orkiness. It's on to the final boss car to see what we can do with that. This one has multiple interior seats. However, I feel like this back one here could be the correct size. I could move it forwards to here and put an orc sitting in this seat being the driver compared to those two tiny seats there. Once I had clipped and ripped my way through this car, it was a nightmare. This plastic is incredibly durable. But once I got those seats out, it was then time to work on getting the back seat out in one piece, which I did manage to do. So I'm going to move this forwards. I don't know what position it's going to be in yet. Then I'll turn the back half of this into some kind of flatbed truck. Going through all of my orc bits, I didn't have many bodies that were actually suitable for this. I had these two with legs, but I didn't have any other spare orc bodies with legs at all. So I was hoping this one from the top of an orc vehicle would fit and you wouldn't really notice he was missing his lower half, and I could use other bits and bobs to then put together a full orc for the other two. These were going to be my main torsos for this kit bash. Getting to work with them was interesting. This one with no legs I think does fit nicely into this one, and you can't really tell that he has no legs and you don't really think about it. I know there's a hole where you can see the engine, but you don't really think about the fact he's got no legs. Now I had to put in some way it looked like he was steering or accelerating the car, and I settled for this switch, which I believe is from a Flash Kit's gun. Once that's attached on the side there, it's going to look like that's the throttle. And these are the bits which I believe are from Mega Knobs, but correct me if I'm wrong. Have these bits underneath, but they're also holding a little joystick type thing, which hopefully I could kitbash and butcher into the vehicles to make them look like they were the acceleration method for these little death buggies they've got. Meanwhile, I clipped away at the legs of the other orcs to make them fit inside their designated cockpits, and scraped a bit as well as final adjustments, and then took those extras off of those Mega Knob arms so that it was like a little command console thing for the car. Once the orcs were in, this one having the joystick on his bonnet, I used a bit of the Hot Wheels packaging itself to turn this into a flatbed. I wanted to kind of emulate the tow truck layout, you know, like Mater from Cars. That has a specific shape to it, but I didn't want to actually do a tow truck, so I used this piece instead, this field generator thingamabob that would look nice in the back of this truck and give it the tow truck outline that we're familiar with, but also use these side panels, which are again from Flash Kit's guns. They've got so many useful bits to then build something that looked like it was a solid unit in the back of this truck. Some bits don't work out after you try them, and you have to think again and find other bits to go in those little places while kit bashing, but that's the joy of it, finding the best bit for the best purpose. This gives that tow truck outline perfectly while not actually being a tow truck. It makes it feel more right in your head that it looks like something real, as well as being some wacky field generator from the future. Now, for the rest of the car, I have some gun bits, some muzzles, again, Flash Kit guns, and then this piece which looks like a car bumper anyway for the perfect size. I don't know where that piece came from, but these gun barrels are going to be over the headlights as if it's got built-in weapons in there. And then I'm not sure at this point whether that bumper would be front or back, but it would end up on the back with a fat exhaust sticking out of the top of it. At the front, it just didn't fit with the guns. But the back, it fit perfectly with a little bit of adjustment on the sides just to make sure it clips across there. But it does look exactly like a car bumper. Once we have that setup done, it is time to orkify the rest of the vehicle. It's looking rather clean, rather sleek at the moment. We need to add some chonk to it. Once that is done, something that looks like this. A little scope for a hood ornament. I'm going to put this little fellow with a telescope and a flag in the back there. We've got a jaw protector as some wheel arches, some banner bits to be the paneling on the side, and again, bits from Flash Kit guns either side of the bonnet to make it chonkier. Those guns are one of the best Orky Kitbash kits you can buy. They have amazing bits left over because they have so many different variations when you make them originally. They have about as many bits left over as bits you use. Now these, on the other hand, have bits from the Met Gun kits, bits from other vehicles, and also I've put the Snakebite logo on the top of both of the cars with a shoulder pad to make the front look more orky shape than a regular car, and just other greeblies and crap all over them. Now I've got to think about the environment they're in. So I did some laser cutting and designed something using the laser cut sign and some fake houseplant cactuses from a little pot and a little bit of insulation foam to make the environment. We're going to be going through a red desert. This is going to look very orc/Mad Maxy, and I'm very happy with this. I love painting a red desert on things. Usually I like doing a red desert against white, but I've decided to go for more traditional orky colours on these vehicles. Once I put some texture paint on the bases and the diorama, it's time to start oranging it up. This orange will also be used for the base for most of the car, as I'm going to airbrush red over the rest of the car from the top, leaving the orange in the gaps and on the bottom to make it look like they've either rusted or the red desert dust has coated the underside of this vehicle. This is also going to be used on the sign in the background as rusted metal. I'm just going to have to do some work on that later, but for now, let's get that red on. I really wanted to go for some retro orc colours on this. Reds and yellows as bright can be, with just some edge highlighting. This is the way of 90s and early 2000s orcs, and I love that era. I don't like a lot of retro Warhammer. I'm not a big fan of the old Marines, but the old orcs tickle something inside of my hobby brain, and this is going to be the colour scheme for me on this paint job. But while the cars dry, it's time to deal with the basing a bit. Some Mantis Warrior green in a couple of coats over these cacti to give them a nice juicy feel. This is a very moist and succulent green. And then over the top of that, a little bit of necrotic flesh, airbrushed only from the top to give it some life, some freshness to it, and cover up some of that texture from the contrast paint. Once we've got that, we are ready to move on to the sign, which I painted this area in white because it's going to be a neon sign. And now I need some metallics, dark silver and normal silver from Pro Acryl. Sponge, Le Sponge is back to sponge this on and make this look like a rusted old weathered sign that has been out in the desert for years. Now some more white through the airbrush this time to create a haze around the sign to replicate that glowing before I go in with the neons, just to give it a little help, a little lift. Then I'll go in with some neon yellow over the top of that to make this Grot Wheels sign glow in the desert, and then through the middle of it some orange as well to bring it back to that Hot Wheels branding. Once that's drying, we'll be putting some transfers. These checkered ones from the Cities of Sigmar box fit nicely on the side of the truck here. That's all I'm going to do, just a hint to the orcs. I don't actually own any orc transfers. Now, some deep yellow and edge highlighted with ice yellow, then bringing back that red I put through the airbrush, mixing it with ice yellow to do some lovely edge highlights on this kit. This is the way of old painting and why heavy metal have developed the style they've got now. They've got a really rich style that comes from decades of history. First of all, starting out with not many colours, but making them pop with edge highlights, and now the more modern blending techniques. And Games Workshop do work that together masterfully, and I'm hoping to emulate that style here with these crisp edge highlights, as well as the fade to orange of the airbrush to tie in the old retro style with some more modern painting techniques as well. And once I've finished off this red on this side of the bonnet here, it's looking pretty fresh. Very retro orc, but also quite modern in style. Now some metallics. I am going to dry brush these over the areas that need them. This leaves the black spray undercoat and also the overspray of the orange to form a nice little rusty texture under the edge highlights that this brushing does of metallics, leading to nice worn old orky equipment that's been battered through the desert for who knows how long. After that, I'll paint this checkered flag just to make it a little bit more racing themed, sticking with the Hot Wheels / Grot Wheels, but at the moment it is looking too white and fresh, so that needs bringing down a little bit. And to do that, I used a little bit of sepia, this shade over the top, quite thick, make that flag dirty and gross, and bring that down to match the rest of the tone of this entire paint job. Camouflage green for the base of the orc flesh. This is going to be a nice ruddy green that we will only be leaving in the shadows later. And some chocolate brown for the material they're wearing, and also some Rhinox hide for the leather. I've put the snakebite logo on the bonnet, so I'm going to try and be true to their clothing colours of those gribbly browns. Once they have all been base coated, you can see it starting to come together. But those orcs are looking a little bit drab for a nice retro-inspired paint job. They need to be brought to life a bit with some golden olive. This is my Counts As Goblin Green. I like this shade. Heavy, heavy layering everywhere to build this up and only really leave that camouflage green in the recesses. So it is a bright, solid green orc like the retro days. Once that is done, they look very cool, but I'd like to bring a little bit more life to them. I know the orcs are big mushroom men, but I like to make it look like they have some kind of blood flow and life in them. So to do that, I use a little bit of Caribou Crimson thinned down and wash that over their mouth area and also their hands. Once this is dry, I'll do another edge highlight of that green to bring it back up so it's not completely darker than surrounding areas, but the red in the recess then gives them a little bit of life, a little bit of blood flow around their lips and hands. This is what it looks like before I do that extra little highlight. You can see it looks a little bit dusty on the top of his lips and fingers, so that's why you do the extra highlight. Chocolate brown and dark sand mixed together to form a lighter brown for the chocolate brown highlighting step of this clothing paint job, keeping it nice and dull and snake bitey with their little suits in their cockpits there. And then I will be using some Tuscaur fur to do some scratchy highlights on this leather, bringing that more modern with a more modern painting technique around the retro areas. But it doesn't look ill-fitting in this environment. Once that is done, all I've got to do is some tufts on the base and surrounding area, and then some red ochre pigment powder to make it really look dusty and deserty with some real dust, I guess. And then we're on to pictures. But first of all, thank you to my Patreon members who are on screen now. They will be judging this competition for us in a second. I didn't want my entry to be obviously me. I mean, if you know my style, you can probably tell it's me. So you took some pictures with white paper as the background, disguising anything you'd regularly see in my videos, like my desk or this spinning plate where I like to film the models I've painted for the end of videos. And then I would sneak it in amongst the other entries. And so I put my number as number 5, disguising my entry in this competition in amongst the others. So we can now run through all of the entrants, and I'll speak a little bit about what I like about them all, and we will get on to the winners at the end after everyone has had screen time in this video. So starting with D-Fry. Now D-Fry has made this lovely grot. Are they a war boss? Are they a shaman? They look pretty damn cool with their big boss stick there. Nice little base for them. Lovely. Now we have Lord Quackers has put together this insane flying tank machine with a lot of Imperial bits I can see there. It's in the true spirit of an Ork Kitbash to just smash all this stuff together, starting with one of the Imperial flyers and adding and adding and adding to it till it becomes this orc scrap contraption, and I do like the little Christmas lights across it. And now we have Archon CH, which is someone who has placed before in these competitions, and I'm assuming they're going to again with this amazing Sons of Gork red orc army. Now they commissioned me earlier this year to do a red orc war boss for them. They're not in this picture, but the paint scheme seems very familiar, and if they win, I'm taking partial credit for it, okay? This is a really nice diorama piece. I said you can make what you want, whether it's just a model, a giant kitbash, or whether it's a diorama, but a kitbash has to be the center of it. And this knight is looking tasty. That is a cool... I like the saw with all the blood splats around it. The circular saw is a very nice, very orky addition to this Imperial Knight. Good lava effect. Top job. Number 4 is Sauve Joy. Now they have made this incredibly long-necked dragon for the Witch King of Orkimar. This is a really cool kind of combination of both the fantasy orcs and Lord of the Rings, which is obviously the inspiration for most fantasy things. I do agree that the cabbage dragon needs some changes to it. It does look like a big fisty cabbage, but this is a cool using the Troglodon head from the Lizardman kit, I believe. Very nice. Now number 5 in the entries is your boy. Disguised amongst the other entrants, this Orky Desert Grot Wheels / Hot Wheels scene is sneakily in there. Number 6 is Miniature Painter Al with this cool Mech Boy Big Boss Kitbash thingy. I like it. I like the power suit. I like the big gun in his hand. It is a very nice Kitbash, and the bright green really gives those retro orc vibes. Now, number 7, Bare Necessities. What a beautiful Ghost Rider-esque orc conversion. This is a great Kitbash. The speed on the wheels with the blurry looking hot points, really nice, really nice. The flames on the ground, lovely touch, and of course the flaming skull heads. I am really impressed with the speed spinny lookingness of the hot point on the front wheel. I think that is a standout on this model, and the OSL on it is lovely. Now on number 8, a confusing name, Van, and in brackets Fzilla98. One Piece Orcs is an incredible idea, and the squig for Chopper is fantastic. I love all the little posters in the background. That's a really nice touch. Luffy's looking sick there with his power claw. I always wanted to do a One Piece gang as something 40k, but I wanted to represent their powers. This has shown me that you don't have to do that. You can just represent their look, which is really, really cool. I really like this entry. This is a cool little whimsical one for the orcs. Very nice. Now, number 9 for Waykua, we have what I'm assuming is a Nurgle orc with all this gribbly grossness all over it. Very gross, very cool. Number 10, we have Coco, is a large entry. This is a stomper with a big pirate sail on it, which is very cool. Also something I was thinking about doing, because I do have a stomper that's missing bits that someone gave to me. I thought about cutting it in half that way and pirate ship. But this is a cool way of doing it, putting the sail on top. Very nice. Number 11, we have Fryren with we've got a parts used list for this. We've got AOS Megaboss and Tree Lord and Dryads bit to make a cool, really nice naturey orc. Looks like they live in the woodlands and they have taken trophies of the surrounding victims. Now, number 12, Gogoro. This is a cool scratch-built vehicle. I really like this. This is in the kind of antithesis of the start of 40k when it first came out, when you would make cardboard vehicles and terrain and stuff for it. This is a very nice throwback to that. Number 13, we have Ekil Notpoven, who has got a cool Dakar jet with extra Dakar. There is a lot of Dakar on this jet. I really like the way that this looks like it's screaming towards you with all those guns. That is a terrifying sight on the battlefield. Number 14, we have Gagard, and this is a giant battle wagon. This is an Iron Brew battle wagon made in Scotland. Thematic vehicle. I really do like the size of this. This is an insane... is it sprues? Let me zoom right in. It be sprues. Good use of the spruage. They've said it's made from girders. So I do like reusing the sprues like this to avoid waste. And Orcs is one of the best factions that you can choose to do this with. And number 15 is Mr. Sus with this giant cardboard titan. This is like Warlord Titan scale orc machine. I do like it, and again in the spirit of original 40k with the making stuff out of cardboard, making stuff yourself. This is brilliant. Number 16, we have Wilfred DW, and they have made an Orky claimed Tau machine. I do like this, very nice. Put the Orky pilot popping out there, and the inclusion of the squig shield on the gun is nice. Lovely job. Now number 17, HL, is a pirate version of a kill rig. So this is that big squig machine with all the boys hanging off. Do like using the mammoth. I have one of these mammoths that I've got fully painted, but that ogre army I'm thinking about doing something with. Maybe a roll to kitbash on an entire army would be cool. So this is inspirational and a good use of other models to make something you want in your army's theme. And number 18, Monk Verde, the budget hobbyist, had made this little grot tank with one flinging out the side. Lovely little use of extra bits here to make an entirely new model. This is really cool. And now onto the vote. And may I remind you, there is one winner with one prize, but I will do a third, second and third place just so you can see where the top choices have placed in this. So we have joint third between quite a few people. We have number 14, that's Gagard with the Iron Brew Battle Wagon. And number 8, that's Than. And number 7, which is Bare Necessities with the Ghost Rider one, all placing third. So congratulations to you all. You all received 13% of the vote to all get third place. And now second, with 25% of the vote, is me. Your boy has come second, which means there is a prize. And who do we think has come first? That's, of course, Archon CH has come first with the cool Orky Knight and also all of the lava. I'm taking partial credit for doing that paint scheme in the video, but the conversion itself with the big kill saw and everything is really good. So congratulations on your win. Well-deserving winner. This, I think, was the coolest piece and most effort piece in this competition. So congratulations to you. I'll get in contact and send out your prize as soon as I can. But that is it for today. So thank you to my Patreons who you have seen earlier over the top of the reveals of my piece. You can indeed become a patron yourself and help support the prize pool for these competitions. There will be another one coming in the near future. I need to save up portions of my Patreon's earnings to pay for the things that I want to reward this with. Remember to do a subscribe if you've stuck around in the video this long, and I will see you next time, kids. Peace.